Hey everybody, this is Grandmaster Finegold here for Kid Chess, and we're going to look at one of my favorite games that was played over 100 years ago. My favorite player was Paul Morphy, who was clearly the best player in the 1800s, and he didn't play chess for long. He was a lot better than everybody else, but he's really good at showing us how to do things the correct way. And since his opponents weren't as good as he was, his opponents showed us how to do things the wrong way. And because of that, people got a lot better at chess. So if you study Paul Morphy's games, I think you can really improve. Okay, Paul Morphy has black. He's playing James McConnell, who was at Chess Master, and they played a French defense. Back in the 1800s, almost everybody played e5 on move one. And actually, that's some good advice for you. If every game that you see starts e4, e5, which is pretty common, if you play something else with white or black, your opponent won't be as familiar. Okay, and the French defense is very common today. The idea of e6 is to play d5, but your pawn is defended by the e6 pawn, and that's what happened, d4, d5. And this is very common today. White has three moves that grandmasters play. You can defend your pawn on e4 with knight c3, defending the pawn, or knight d2, defending the pawn. Or you can move the pawn, which is what white did, the advanced variation, by advancing his pawn, e5. Okay, this takes space, and it controls these two squares, so black can't go there because he'll lose either his knight or his bishop. Okay, so now we attack the center with the move c5, trying to get rid of the center pawn, and white defends the center with c3. This is very common. Both sides develop their knights, and here, when I said both sides develop their knights, that's because every grandmaster game played today, white plays knight f3. And since you're a kid and you're playing chess, you've been told by a chess coach or a parent or a friend, you should get your pieces out, your bishops and knights. You shouldn't just move your pawns every move. Some kids don't listen, and a lot of players from the 1800s didn't listen either, and they made too many pawn moves. And this game will show you how to punish somebody who just moves their pawns every move, and that's what white did here. So again, if this game was played today at a grandmaster level, white would play knight to f3. Here, white played f4, making another pawn move. And because of this, black gets time to attack. White's pieces haven't moved yet, and it's black's fifth move. Black plays queen b6, which is typical in this line because it puts pressure on two pawns. And you might say, what are you talking about? It doesn't attack this pawn. That pawn's defended by the bishop. That's right, but that means the bishop can't move anywhere, then you'll lose this pawn. Now this pawn on d4 is attacked. It's attacked 1, 2, 3 times, and it's only defended twice. So white played knight f3, finally getting a piece out. Black got another piece out, bishop to d7. Now his rook can get out. And white made another pawn move, a3, too many pawn moves. Black developed a piece, knight h6. Now you might be thinking, you shouldn't move your pieces to the side. That's right. And the reason black played knight h6 was he wants to go to f5, putting more pressure on this d pawn. And also, by the knight going to h6, it doesn't block the bishop. If the knight went to e7, the other square, then block the bishop. Normally, in chess, you're seeing knight f6 a lot, in a lot of games, but not in the French defense advanced variation. There's a white pawn on e5. You can't do that. Okay, white played b4, another pawn move. And they traded pawns, and black played rook c8. So we're on move 9, and black has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces out. Good. And white has 1. I tell my students, don't make a lot of pawn moves, get your bishops and knights out. Okay, bishop b2 getting a piece out. Knight f5, as I told you that black would play. And now white has a problem. Black wants to play knight e3 attacking the queen, so he played queen to d3, so you can't play knight to e3, you just lose your knight. And after queen to d3, Black sacrificed a piece. This is a typical Morphy thing to do. When you have a lead in development and your opponent hasn't castled yet, you want to punish them. So Morphy sacrificed with bishop takes b4 check, the only piece he hadn't moved yet. And now after he gives the piece away, knight takes threatens the queen, and also knight c2 check is coming. It's defended by the rook, and that would fork the king and the rook. White has a lot of problems here. White has to save his queen, so he did, queen d2. Rook c2 attacking the queen. Where does the queen go? Not only is he attacking the queen, but it's a fork. I'm attacking the queen and the bishop. And the queen only has one safe square. The queen can move to all these squares that I'm highlighting. Those are its options. But only one of them is safe. Okay, if you go here or here, the rook can capture. If you go here or here, the knight can capture. If you go here or here, the rook can capture. So you have to play queen d1. There is no other move. And normally, you would just take the bishop and black would be winning, but black found a better move, knight to e3, attacking the queen, and the queen has nowhere to go. The queen's trapped. So black's pieces are all over white. White's pieces are mainly on the first rank and haven't moved yet because he made too many pawn moves. If you make too many pawn moves in the opening and you don't get your pieces out, that's a way to lose the game quickly. Conversely, black got a lot of his pieces out. Look at that. And most of his pawns are still at home. And black's ready to castle if he needs to, and white can never castle. So here white gave up because white's going to lose his queen, and he's probably going to lose some more pieces too, like this bishop. So a really good game from Paul Morphy, showing us all the advantages of getting your pieces out and not making too many pawn moves. This is Grandmaster Finegold for Kid Chess. I hope you enjoyed that video, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.